If you've been scrolling through endless monitor specs, watching YouTubers compare pixel counts, and still feel like you're one step away from a purchase regret, this review is here to pull the curtain back on the real-world experience of the BenQ MA270S. I've spent the last few weeks swapping my old 24-inch workhorse for this 27-inch 5K panel, setting it up with a MacBook Pro, a desktop Mac Mini, and even a Windows laptop for comparison, just to see whether the hype lives up to daily use. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest hesitation most of us have is whether the extra resolution and color space actually translate into something noticeable on a day-to-day workflow, or if it's just a marketing bump. The MA270S promises matte colors with 5K clarity, a nano gloss panel, and dual Thunderbolt 4 ports that can deliver up to 96 watts of power. Those sound impressive, but the proof is in how it behaves when you're editing a Premiere timeline, dragging a Photoshop document, or just juggling a couple of chat windows while your coffee cools. When I connected the monitor to my 2023 MacBook Pro using a single Thunderbolt 4 cable, the setup was literally plug and play. The Mac recognized the display as a Mac color device, automatically switched the color profile, and I didn't need to fiddle with custom ICC files. The 5K resolution, 5120x2880, gave me a lot of screen real estate. My 12-track audio project that used to scroll off the bottom of my old monitor now fits comfortably, and I can see fine details in 4K video footage without having to zoom in constantly. The nano gloss coating does a decent job of reducing glare on a bright office window while still feeling crisp when you look at text. It's not a matte panel, but the subtle gloss keeps colors vibrant without the washed-out look some glossy screens have. One feature that actually made a difference in my workflow is the built-in KVM switch. With two Thunderbolt-connected machines, a MacBook Pro and a Mac Mini, I can flip the active input with a single button on the monitor. That means I'm not hunting for a keyboard shortcut on the OS level or unplugging cables. I just press the KVM button and my mouse, keyboard, and display jump over. For anyone who runs a desktop for heavy rendering and a laptop for on-the-go work, that saves a surprising amount of friction. Brightness and volume control from the monitor itself also feel practical. The brightness knob lets me dial down from 300 nits to a comfortable 150 nits for low-light editing sessions without diving into macOS settings, and the volume slider is handy when I'm listening to reference audio while the laptop's internal speakers are out of the picture. It's the kind of small integration that doesn't get shouted about in spec sheets but smooths the day. Now, let's talk about who should actually consider buying this thing. If you're a Mac-centric creator, photographers, video editors, graphic designers who rely on accurate P3 color space and need that extra pixel density for detail work, the MA270S hits a sweet spot. The 96W power delivery means you can keep your laptop fully charged while you work, cutting down on desk clutter. The daisy chain capability is another win. You can add a BenQ PD3220U or any other Thunderbolt display downstream and keep the cable count minimal. For a home studio where every inch of desk space matters, that streamlined setup feels premium. On the other side, if you're a gamer who craves 144Hz refresh rates, low input lag, or adaptive sync, this isn't the monitor for you. The MA270S caps at 60Hz, which is fine for creative work but feels sluggish in fast-paced shooters. Its HDR support is modest. HDR10 is present, but the peak brightness and local dimming aren't enough to make a dramatic difference, so you won't get that cinema-grade dynamic range. And if you're primarily on Windows and don't need the Mac-specific color profile, you'll be paying for a feature set that you won't fully leverage. Price is where the conversation turns practical. The MA270S sits in the upper mid-range of 27-inch monitors, not cheap by any stretch. The value proposition hinges on how much you'll actually use the 5K resolution and the Mac-optimized color. In my tests, the extra pixel density made a noticeable impact when working with high-resolution assets, but for everyday browsing or office tasks, a 4K panel would have felt just as sharp. That means you're paying a premium for the specific workflow boost, not for general use. A few quirks surfaced after a week of daily use. The stand offers height, tilt, and swivel adjustments, but the range is modest if you have a very deep desk or need a high ergonomic position, you might find yourself reaching for a separate monitor arm. Also, the nano gloss surface, while great for color vibrancy, can pick up fingerprints more readily than a matte coating. A quick microfiber wipe keeps it clean, but you'll notice smudges if you're constantly touching the screen for calibration or drawing. Another point worth mentioning is that the monitor's internal speakers are